Many characters in the Hunger Games series had a big influence on Katniss, but one of the most influential was her designer Cinna. Lenny Kravitz was the perfect choice to play him, perfectly embodying Cinna's confidence and personality.
Most people just congratulate me.
I don't see the point in that.
Like the other Hunger Games characters that I've broken down though, the film left out a lot about his character compared to the books. So in this video, I'm going to break his character down, add some speculation based on context clues, and explain the life of Cinna from the books. One of the things that makes Cinna so intriguing is that very little is known about his past. We know that he's in the capital by the time the 74th Hunger Games come around, but he's very different from other capital residents. While most capital residents went with over-the-top fashion, makeup, tattoos, and surgeries, Cinna strayed away from all of that. He had his own sense of style that was much more low-key, wearing simple black shirts and pants. He also has close-cropped hair that he didn't dye, leaving it his natural color, something most capital citizens always modify. When Katniss first met him, she was shocked to see how normal he was to the other stylists that she had seen on TV, most of whom were very over the top with odd style choices. The only thing that Cinna altered, which was his fashion statement he was known for, was wearing gold eyeliner. Cinna also lacked the capital's affectations in his voice, something that took Katniss aback. Analyzing all of this, I don't think that Cinna was actually born in the capital. He seems to have the style and outlook on capital life as someone who is from the districts. If this is true, he's most likely from District 1, the district that the capital favors the most. This is because their industry is to make luxury items for the capital. Cinna most likely worked making clothes and designs for capital citizens, which he found out he was very good at. We know that Cinna fell in love with fashion and design at a young age, and that passion most likely formed while he was doing his job in District 1. Presumably, his name eventually became known in the capital, associated with his magnificent designs, and it was only a matter of time before someone from the capital saw his potential and brought him to the city. Judging by how familiar and indifferent he was to the capital's luxury, I think he had been in the capital for a number of years before he became a Hunger Games stylist. I think he used his time in the capital before the 74th Hunger Games to make even more of a name for himself now that he was in the heart of where his designs were most appreciated. When Cinna got into his designs, his excitement made him go from having a calm and normal demeanor to becoming a madman, as Katniss described him. Cinna eventually got his chance to become a stylist in the 74th Hunger Games, and most thought he got stuck with District 12 because he was a newbie, but Cinna had actually requested to be the stylist for 12. He may have thought that it would be an interesting challenge. While the movies portrayed him as being black with brown eyes, in the books he was white with green eyes. In his green eyes, he had specks of gold that his gold eyeliner brought out. Cinna is also a lot younger in the books than he was in the movies. In the books, he's in his 20s, while in the movies, he's in his late 40s. When Cinna became District 12 stylist, he got a prep team to work with. This included Flavius, who did hair, Vinia, who was in charge of waxing and eyebrows, and Octavia, who did nails. He worked alongside Portia, who was the boy stylist, and Cinna was the girls. Cinna watched the reaping and saw how brave Katniss was to volunteer in place of her sister. After seeing this, he gained immediate respect for her and was excited to work with her. When Katniss was brought to the capital, the team prepped her to get ready for Cinna to come in. When he came in, he observed her body and was immediately impressed with her hair. He said it was an almost perfect balance with her profile. When he asked her who did it, Katniss responded saying her mother, and Cinna replied saying that she had very clever hands. Katniss expected someone flamboyant and someone older who was trying desperately to be young. Unlike other stylists who viewed tributes as meat to be prepared for a platter, Cinna treated Katniss with respect and treated her like a human being. When Katniss saw a whole meal pop up at the press of a button, Cinna read her face and said, "How despicable we must look to you," something that was spot on with Katniss's thoughts. Because Cinna paired himself with the capital, saying "we," this leads me to believe that again, he had been there for a number of years before this, and as I said before, had become accustomed to the capital's luxuries. For the parade, stylists were supposed to make costumes that reflected that district's industry, which for 12 was coal mining. Cinna, along with Portia, however, thought that the coal miner getup was overdone and not very memorable. Cinna knew that it was his job to make his tributes unforgettable to the audience. Instead, Cinna came up with the idea to focus on the coal aspect, and what do you do with coal? You burn it. He dressed Katniss in a black unitard that covered her from ankle to neck with shiny leather boots that laced up to her knees. He also gave her a cape that made streams of orange, yellow, and red, and on top of that, she had a headpiece. Cinna planned for all of this to light on fire just before the chariot rolled out into the streets. However, it wasn't real fire, it was just a little synthetic fire, ensuring their safety. He gave Katniss very little makeup, just a bit of highlighting here and there. Her hair was brushed out and braided down her back, just as her mother had done. Before they went out on the chariot, Cinna said to Katniss, "I want the audience to recognize you when you're in the arena." Katniss, the girl who was on fire. Portia and both teams of stylists were very excited before Katniss and Peeta went out, but Cinna wasn't. He instead was a bit wary, even when he was accepting congratulations. When the chariot started moving, Cinna used a lighted torch to set fire to their capes and headdresses. He then gave out a sigh of relief, happy that it worked. Cinna gently tucked his hand under Katniss's chin and reminded them both to keep their heads up and to smile, then said that the crowd would love them. As he walked away, he told them to hold hands in order to show unity between the two. The outfits for the parade were a huge success, and Katniss was dubbed the Girl on Fire, just as Cinna had predicted. He had given Katniss a huge advantage, as no one would forget her after that showing. Cinna's direction of Katniss and Peeta holding hands, something that was very rare in the Hunger Games, given that they might have to kill each other if it came down to it. This team aspect, however, is also something that would lead to both of their success in the arena. The District 12 team celebrated that night, laughing and having a good time. The presence of Cinna and Portia helped Haymitch and Effie a great deal, making them become more civilized and friendlier toward both each other and everyone else around them. The two had nothing but praise for the stylists, Haymitch especially commenting on Cinna's idea of them holding hands. That night, Cinna took Peeta up to the roof where you could see all of the city. Peeta asked why more tributes didn't jump off the building, and Cinna showed him that there was an electrical field around it that stops anything from going over the side. Cinna and his prep team went to support Katniss and Peeta as they watched their scores go up, something that Katniss felt badly about, not wanting to disappoint them, especially Cinna. Luckily, both she and Peeta got a good score, which Cinna was very happy about. He called Katniss the Girl on Fire as he hugged her. He then hinted at the dress that she would be wearing for her interview. After trying and failing to coach Katniss for the interview, Haymitch went to Cinna. He told Cinna how he tried to make her a person that the Capitol and the audience would love, but Cinna had a better idea. He instead told Katniss to just be herself. He told her that the prep team adored her, and pointed out the fact that she even won over the game makers, getting the top score. He said that the Capitol was going to love her, because no one can help but admire her spirit. Before the interview, Cinna told Katniss to close her eyes as he put the interview dress on her. When she opened her eyes, she was ecstatic. The dress was entirely covered in reflective gems and had red, yellow, and white that accent the tips of the flame design. The slightest movement gave the impression that she was engulfed in tongues of fire. Katniss thanked Cinna as she looked at herself, thinking that she was as radiant as the sun. Before Katniss went out for the interview, Cinna took her hand and told her to answer the questions as if she was addressing someone back home. Katniss immediately thought of Gale, but she told Cinna that she wouldn't tell Gale any of that stuff because he already knew it all. Cinna then asked her, "What about me? Could you think of me as a friend?" When she said yes, he told her that when she's asked a question to look right at him in the audience and answer the question honestly. During the interview, Katniss was asked what she thought of the costume that Cinna made for her for the parade. When she met Cinna's eye in the audience, he raised one eyebrow at her. She answered, saying that she thought that Cinna was brilliant and it was the most gorgeous costume she had ever seen. She then showed off her newest dress that she was wearing. Cinna moved his finger in a circular motion, telling Katniss to twirl. When she did this, the audience loved it. After Peeta's interview, Katniss went after him, and Haymitch told her off.
He did you a favor.
He made me look weak.
He made you look desirable.
When Katniss angrily stepped away, Cinna came over and put an arm around her, telling Katniss that Haymitch was right, and that it was a good thing that Peeta did. Cinna quickly became Katniss's favorite person that she had met since she came to the Capitol, and when he told her this, she accepted it. Hours before Katniss was to go in the arena, Cinna went with Katniss to the catacombs below the arena and did her hair in the simple trademark braid down her back. He then told her that the jacket was designed to reflect body heat and told her to expect some cool nights because of this. When Katniss was all dressed, Cinna surprised her by pulling out her old Mockingjay pin from his pocket. He had gotten it off of the outfit that she had worn on the train to the Capitol. He said it was her district token and fastened it on her shirt. He told her that it barely cleared the review board, saying that some thought the pin could be used as a weapon, giving her an unfair advantage, but eventually they let it go through after Cinna fought for it. The two then waited, sitting on the couch. Cinna held Katniss's hands in both of his, and they sat like that until the announcement came. Before Katniss went up, he said to her,
"I'm not allowed to bet, but if I could, I'd bet on you."
He then kissed Katniss on the forehead and said, "Good luck, girl on fire." Cinna watched as Katniss went into the arena, scared for her life, but determined, knowing that she had a good chance of winning. Watching Katniss in the arena was hard, but Cinna was extremely happy when both Katniss and Peeta won. They had stuck together as a team, just as he had told them to do before the parade, and it paid off big time. Cinna created Katniss a whole new wardrobe for public appearances, specifically for when she was crowned as a victor. Cinna was excited as he, Haymitch, and Effie waited to see Katniss for the first time since the games ended. Cinna hugged Katniss tightly, but didn't say anything. He knew that nothing had to be said. She knew how he felt. Cinna then took Katniss away, and the prep team, along with Cinna, got her prepared for the ceremony. Cinna presented Katniss with an unassuming yellow dress, and when he put it on her, she got mad that there was padding in the breasts. Cinna told her that it was either that, or the Capitol would surgically change her body, something that Cinna fought hard against. The fabric of the dress softly glowed, and even the slightest movement sent a ripple up her body. Katniss thought that this dress outdid the other two, and this one gave the illusion of her wearing candlelight. When Cinna asked what she thought, she said that it was the best one yet. Katniss noticed that this dress made her look young, innocent, and harmless. A crazy feat considering she had just won the Hunger Games, killing several people. This goes to show how influential Cinna's work is, and how much he's able to convey in just one dress. When Cinna and Portia went out on stage for the ceremony, they received huge cheers for their incredible designs that year. Cinna barely had time to say goodbye to Katniss and Peeta before they were taken away. Cinna and Portia started working hard to make designs for the Victory Tour. Because Cinna was so close to Katniss, who became the spark for the rebellion, he was somewhat at risk. When Katniss moved into Victor's village, she got a phone, which she would use to talk to Cinna for hours. The two had become very close friends, and Katniss felt as though she could confide in Cinna for anything. Around this time, Cinna became a rebel, part of a larger plan to overthrow the Capitol. He joined Haymitch, Plutarch, the upcoming game maker, District 13, and a few other districts as well, all of whom wanted to see the districts rise up and put an end to the Hunger Games. Every victor had to have a talent, and Cinna offered to help Katniss with hers, which they decided would be designing clothes. She accepted because he promised to do all the work, and she thought it would be nice to spend more time with Cinna. When Cinna gave Katniss the outfit that she would wear on live TV to show her talent, she jokingly asked if she made it, and Cinna told her no, but that she aspired to design outfits as good as his, and jokingly added that he was her fashion hero. By the time the Victory Tour came around, Cinna had spent many long nights working, and Effie said that he must have made over 100 outfits for Katniss. Although the prep team wanted to make alterations to Katniss, Cinna refused and said that she had to stay the way that she was. Another example of how he's different from the other Capitol citizens. For the first day of the Victory Tour, they had a live broadcast for Katniss to show off her talent and the clothes that everyone thought that she designed, but really Cinna did. Cinna also designed dresses for Katniss to wear to banquets and balls for all of her public appearances. Cinna started to drift away from Katniss's girlish and innocent look, and began to make her look a bit older and a bit more rebellious. A few other outfits that Cinna made for her for the Victory Tour include a pale pink strapless dress, a green silk dress, and a dress made of dark blue velvet decorated with diamonds. Throughout all of this, Cinna always kept Katniss's hair in her classic and simple braid that he was so fond of when he first met her. Cinna became very sad and upset when Katniss and Peeta were reaped for the 75th Hunger Games, but instead of being upset, he channeled his feelings into his designs. For that year's parade, Cinna decided to add more makeup on Katniss, and he dressed her in a tight black dress. At the touch of a button, it continued the girl on fire persona.
There it is! Oh, fire in the house!
Katniss told Cinna that the dress was exactly what she needed to face her opponents at the games.
No waving and smiling this time. I want you to look straight ahead as if the audience and this whole event are beneath you.
The dress was once again a hit with the audience. Snow demanded Cinna to have Katniss wear a wedding dress for the interviews, and Cinna obliged. However, he added a certain modification, a sign of the rebellion that he had become a part of. He told Katniss to raise her arms high and twirl, but not until the end of the ceremony when everyone was looking at her. When Katniss did this, her dress caught on fire, but because she trusted Cinna, she kept spinning. Suddenly, the flames disappeared and the top layer of the dress burned off, revealing its true form.
It's like a bird. It's like a,
Like a mockingjay.
The Mockingjay was of course the sign of the rebellion, and something that drove the rebels. By doing this, Cinna knew that he would anger Snow, but he didn't care.
Your stylist certainly has outdone himself this time, hasn't he? What theatricality! Cinna!
Cinna began to sketch Katniss a Mockingjay uniform a few weeks before the game started, knowing that there would be a war. He gave it to Plutarch to ensure that it would be safe in case something happened to him. He also made Plutarch promise that he wouldn't show Katniss' sketchbook until she decided to become the Mockingjay on her own, because he didn't want to sway her decision. He knew that she had to come to that decision on her own. He also set into motion a plan for District 13 to kidnap his prep team, Flavius, Venia, and Octavia, knowing that the Capitol would kill them if they didn't. When the games were about to start, Cinna walked Katniss to the launching room, just like the first games. Katniss thanked Cinna for his help and said goodbye to him.
Remember, I'm still betting on you, Girl on Fire.
Just as Katniss was about to be sent into the arena, Peacekeepers burst into the room and attacked Cinna. He got brutally beaten. His blood was all over the floor. When they took him away, he was unconscious and very badly hurt. Cinna was taken to be interrogated, the Capitol trying to get information on the rebellion, but he refused to talk. After hours of beating and torturing him, Cinna died a painful, horrid, but heroic death. Despite his death, however, his designs lived on. The Mockingjay uniform he sketched became the uniform that Katniss would wear in many propos and out in the field. When Katniss finally decided to become the Mockingjay, Plutarch showed her Cinna's sketchbook, and on the final page, he left her a note under a sketch of the Mockingjay pin saying, "I'm still betting on you." Katniss, who was iffy about becoming the Mockingjay, now became sure that it was the right choice due to the fact that Cinna had thought it was. District 13 also kidnapped the prep team as Cinna had planned so that they could continue their work with Katniss. Cinna's silk green dress that he had made for Katniss on the Victory Tour was also used for Annie during her and Finnick's wedding. Cinna was a driving force in the rebellion, and the reason why Katniss, the face of the rebellion, was first recognized as the Girl on Fire. Without Cinna, the rebellion might not have even happened. He put both his work, friendships, and beliefs before himself. He might not have been on the battlefield, but he channeled his passion for freedom through his designs and became one of the biggest heroes in the rebellion's cause. Thank you so much for watching, guys. You can follow me on social media. Links for that will be down below. If you like this video, make sure you press that subscribe button to help grow the channel. I want to give a huge shout out to all my patrons listed below. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a bunch of other rewards, check out my Patreon. Again, thank you so much for watching, and look out for more great videos on the way.